So, Troy Weaver has been hired with the New Orleans Pelicans as the vice president of basketball operations or whatever it is. Don't quote me on it. By Joe Dumars. Joe Dumars took over the New Orleans Pelicans job. He was pretty much like the dean of students for the NBA. He would hand out the suspensions and the penalties for misconduct, and he found his way back into the league. And two of the more despised guys that ran the organization. I know somebody in the comment section was like, I don't understand why people hate Joe Dumars or don't like Joe. They don't dislike him. I mean, he won 2 championships here as a player and as a GM, but when he passed up on Carmelo and you kind of look back at his draft history, horrible. He was a horrible evaluator of talent. I mean, he drafted Mateen Cleaves, for God's sake. He was terrible. Troy Weaver seemed to be pretty good at drafting. So this, and people were saying, well, he couldn't pick a coach. He didn't get to pick his coach. Troy Weaver's failure as a GM was where Joe Dumars' strength was identifying free agency. So together they can do something in New Orleans. So he was able to identify good free agents that go around these guys. He couldn't draft, but Troy can draft. You say, what do you want to say? The Isaiah Stewart pick looking better and better. The Killian Hayes pick, I never understood it. That was, a terrible pick. Asar Thompson, he drafted him, right? That was a good pick. I knew that was a good pick. A lot of y'all was saying, "Oh, not the Thompson boy." I was like, if I was them, that's the guy that I would draft. That's what I said. I said if I was them, that's who I would go after. And a lot of people end up not liking the pick. Oh, you should trade the pick. Don't. And I'm like, I think y'all should take Asar Thompson. He went to overtime elite, and I didn't even know what overtime elite was at the time. I just seen two young men that was exceptional basketball players. But today, if you can't shoot, you can't play basketball. That's not true. It never will be true. But yeah, I mean, he took Jalen Dern, and me and B. Taylor, we died on that hill talking about they should take Jalen. Oh, he can't shoot. Why do you need, you don't have to be able to shoot to be a great basketball player. That's one of my biggest pet peeves with a lot of people. I'm glad the NBA gonna get away from shooting pretty soon. Get back to driving and playing the basketball the right way. Jaden Ivey was starting to, hoop and do his thing. He was shooting 40% from 3. He was starting to figure it out. I mean, obviously, K was a superstar. That was a critical pick. Where Joe Dumars had multiple options. He couldn't have went wrong with Chris Bosh, but there was rumors that Chris Bosh didn't want to be here. And what happened in Toronto? As soon as Chris Bosh was able to break bad in Toronto, able to get out of Toronto, he broke bad and went to Miami. Remember, he told Brian, and I ain't going to Cleveland. That's why they didn't meet up in Cleveland. Wade and Bosh and Brian, I ain't going to Cleveland. He wanted to go to Miami. So, so that's why they didn't pick Chris Bosh. He didn't want to be in Detroit. And then Dwayne Wade, maybe they feel like, where did he fit in? And he fit in with them. We're going to get rid of Rip. We're going to get rid of Chauncey. Could we knock Rip to the 3 and have Chauncey and Dwayne Wade? I would have found a way to make it work. Regardless. Me personally, I'd have found a way to make that shit work. And obviously the obvious pick was Carmelo Anthony. That's what they needed. He could have split time with Tayshaun. I mean, it didn't really matter. Tayshaun was selfish. Melo wouldn't have liked coming off the bench. Melo would have had his time. Even if you started Melo. I mean, people would have understood it. But no, he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to do it. And, that got people looking at his draft history and Joe Dumars, and it's horrible. It's fucking horrible. He missed more than Ray Charles at a shooting range. No disrespect. But it was horrible. But Troy his strength was drafting players. His weaknesses was where Joe Dumars' weakness is finding guys to go around these drafted players. That And think about the one guy that Joe Dumars hit on in the draft, Tayshaun Prince. They didn't even want to give him a fucking chance until they was on the brink of self-destruction. And T-Mac, they didn't have an answer for T-Mac. So it's some things I like. I like this combination for New Orleans because Troy is one of those guys that like to play the young guys. He wanted to play his young guys. Joe Joe is one of them old heads that want to just do it the old way. So he should let Troy handle the drafting. He should handle the free agency. And to be honest, the day-to-day shit, they should just do it together. But Troy was terrible at putting guys around Cade and them guys. He was terrible. Like Marvin Bagley, James Wiseman, this just wasn't a good fit. And Bogdanovich was more of a scorer than a shooter. Alec Burke was more of a scorer than a shooter. He needed guys to catch and shoot. What the first thing Terration Langdon came in, he said, I got Malik Beasley, catch, shoot, and defend. I got Tobias Harris, catch, shoot, and defend. He got 2 guys off the rip, including Tim Hardaway Jr. Low ball usage, high efficiency, low ball usage. That's what you want. And what's so funny, I was having a conversation with somebody about the Pistons the other day. And I was like, you know who they really could use right now? Y'all motherfuckers gonna laugh. I swear to God, you're gonna laugh. It's the funniest shit in the world. You know who they really could use right now? In reality, they really can use Kelly Olynyk. Real talk. They really can use a Kelly Olynyk type of player. They're missing a big fella that can actually shoot and score. A change of pace big fella. A little bit mobility like Kelly Olynyk can shoot the jump shot. That's kind of what they missing. Minimal core, Kelly Olynyk type of player. That's just what they honestly missing, to be real with you. And I know that's gonna be the funniest shit in the world, but that's what they kind of missing, in my opinion, man. So I just find it funny. It's funny to me, but yeah, I was just thinking about it. Like, yeah, they need a big fella. That's a change of pace. They got 2 Raptors in there. They just need somebody that can just, kind of be a finesse bitch like Jaren Jackson Jr. Y'all said it. I don't like him. Play like a bitch. But yeah. Not even because he went to Michigan State neither. He one of the players I fucking can't stand. He play like a trust fund baby. He really do. I can't stand. He's just soft. He's soft. But, nonetheless, it is what it is, man. And but yeah, shout out to them, and I'll be rooting for them in New Orleans. I thought Troy got a raw deal from the point that he didn't get to pick his coach. But a lot of people used to get mad to see me in the street, and I was being too hard on Troy Weaver. And I get it. I'm a brother, he a brother, but I tell y'all, I gotta keep it real, like Too Short said. I gotta keep it real, bro. So everything Terration Langdon done so far, man, is right, but it's gonna come a time where it's gonna look questionable. I mean, Brad Holmes has turned this organization around, and we still question him. It come with the territory. Bill Belichick won a whole bunch of rings, and people still question him. So check out Detroit Piston Talk playlist. Thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel. Next subscribe button is the bell icon button. Hit the link in the description. You can find me everywhere from X, Instagram, Spotify, Kick, and other platforms as well. 2P.